Welcome ladies and gentlemen to episode 6. This time the spotlight is on the FARA 83 from Black Ops Cold War, a rather versatile assault rifle boasting easy recoil, decent damage and nice mobility. Running the GRU Supressor is basically the agency suppressor, named a little bit differently, boasting damage range, bullet velocity at some recoil control, and of course keeping you off the minimap. The 19.5-inch Liberator Barrel for more bullet velocity, the now correctly named 45 round speed mag, 50 more bullets and nice reload speed. Following that is the Microflex LED Sight because the iron sights aren't that great. And lastly, the Spetsnaz Grip for vertical and horizontal recoil control. Here's the final build, and this time I have a slight variant for my classes. Depending on the circle, I have duplicate loadouts, one has restock, the other has ghost. Tacticals and lethals are slightly different there. Let's kick it off. Game 1, dropped right in the train station and within moments had a loadout, killed some poor souls, popped some UAVs, and went unusually aggressive for these recordings. Ultimately, I ended up landing 13 kills before being killed at the buy station and sent to the gulag. Coming back in a circle full of burfers, I play my life and I wait for someone to come to me, which eventually one does. I lure this gentleman out of his truck and I kill him. But I don't pay attention to the flames coming from his, and another guy decides to light it up, taking me with it. Game 2 is very similar to Game 1, going very aggressive early on, utilizing an RPG for cinematic effect. And ultimately dying in third place, I pushed the situation wrong. I went left and I should have gone much more to the right. The gas had to push him out, and I just took a stupid way and died. Game 3, I was out for a lovely drive around the countryside until this happened. Apparently law enforcement don't like you speeding. Game 4, after narrowly matrixing my way around the rocket, I go on the offensive, taking the perpetrator down, and going on the offensive to find the last guy. And I'll be honest, I have no idea how I didn't win this fight. Game 5, fucking cheaters. Game 6, turns out if you lag, you transcend reality, and I die. Game 7, after killing a guy, the janitor call went out because apparently this guy came along for cleanup duty. Game 8, we won't talk about it. And of course in Game 9, this is why you should fear the Strela. Crashing our way into Game 10, I landed in the same house as someone else. With no guns to find, I needed to take matters in my own hands and provide him with the smackdown. Moments later, this rose smelt blood in the water. After some failed punches, I retreated to find the gun, and with a quick little animation swap, I was ready, and the only blood that she smelt was her own. But the streak didn't last long, as this guy had stopping power and I didn't. In the gulag, I faked a feign to the right, and I rushed left to turn this poor soul into Swiss cheese with one little flick of the wrist. Coming back, I landed at Summit since it was the furthest from the flight path and I got some gear before this troubled teenager started slamming doors. Waiting for the perfect shot, I taught them some manners with bullets, and eventually a Molotov, and I sent them to their room in the gulag. After 2 more very uninteresting kills, the free loadout drops and I choose my restock class for endless claymores and stun grenades before heading to military base to do some recon contracts. A quick note for those who don't know, if you don't fully complete the progress bar when you do a recon, you can finish it later, especially in this case since the circle is close to closing already. Once the circle closes, I go back and I finish the contract. Since I was being hunted by a bounty, I decided to instead turn it around so that the hunter becomes the hunted. And I kill him and I go back to the recon game. I slap some claymores down the entranceway, hoping that this guy would drive straight into it. Instead, he stands out and just takes some sniper shots at me. I go back and forth for a little bit, making sure not to expose the back of my head, before he eventually gets bored and goes off to chase someone else. But wait, here comes round 2, with the guy coming in hot on a kill frenzy. However, my bullets don't actually cause him to miss, and he hits me with that headshot. However, my claymores are having none of that shit, and they put him down on the ground with me. But double twist, another player throws a thermite in, so I throw a stun grenade and I back off to armor up. At this point, someone starts running up to the back door, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Obviously I can see the laser pointing around, and he makes a quick little jump over and lands a shot on me. So at this point, I'm unsure if I'm dealing with a really good player or a cheater. So when the riot shield drops from the ground loop, I take the opportunity to use it. I spot a laser going over my head there, so I know there's at least a second player around as well. And as I'm about to move out, this guy drops out of nowhere like my school grades. So I'm playing it slow, I'm staying ready for a stun grenade. Once he jumps in the truck, I narrowly dodge death and I run into the tunnel. I block a C4 blast, and I throw a stun grenade. However, I do end up stunning myself, so I hold back and I wait for the effect to wear off. I take out my gun, I put a few shots into the driver's seat, and then I snap back to the door just because I don't want to be caught off guard. In the meantime, I actually run through and I put a claymore in the back tunnel, which goes off, I chuck a stun grenade around, and I put this guy down on the ground before a roskin comes along and very kindly finishes him off for me. Again, I go ahead and I put the claymore at the back door, just to protect myself from flank. Well, the sniper has also come back for a challenge as well. So after laying a few bullets into him, getting a quick reload off, and going back out and trying again, I set the car on fire, but he hits me. So I run back, the claymore at the back door goes off, and I just teach Rose a lesson about coming in uninvited. Back to the sniper, I use the riot shield to peek the corner, and I realize that he actually dies to the car blowing up there. Eventually, when everything's all settled down, I go ahead and I take the truck that he left for me, and I make my way out to a better position on the higher ground. The free loadouts drop, and I spot this guy here making a quick little run for his. I chuck a stun grenade over, I land a hit on him, and I end up killing him. Go back to armoring up, and now we're down to 8 players left in the game. I spot this Jeep coming along the side of the cliffside, and I try to actually lay a claymore trap for him, but he doesn't go the same way I go ahead and I move it just to double check, and I narrowly dodge a stun grenade by jumping back in the truck. As my truck starts spitting a new mixtape, I jump out before it blows up, and I land the stun grenade back on him. But lo and behold, this time I'm on the opposite side of the riot shield. So I try and aim for his feet, and I even try some fake outs as well, landing another stun grenade which just forces him backwards. Again, going for the feet, and just trying to see if I can fake him out, if he'll start sprinting at me and I can get some easy shots on him. Ultimately, he ends up dying from another guy getting pushed in by the gas, and the guy takes refuge on the rocks. At the same time, Mr. Gotta Go Fast over here sees me and has me in his sights, so I set a trap. And boy, it works. And with that, we're down to 2 other players left. I know where one of them is, and I suspect that the other guy is over on the right-hand side by the military base. So I go back to putting some shots on this guy and using a cluster strike to force him to move since the gas is already pushing him. I use the riot shield to cross over safely, and I take the utmost care to not overexpose myself in this situation, because if he lands a single headshot on me, I die because I don't have a self-revive. When I see the opportunity, I go ahead and I take some shots at the scope glint in the bush, which doesn't seem very natural to me, and I rush up on him. He does actually move a little bit further than I thought, and I pop dead silence for good measure. I spot him on the opposite side of the road, and I put him down. And that time, it allows me to get some armor plates off, and I go ahead and finish him just as he gets up off the ground. He's not too happy about it. Now, as I said earlier, I suspect the last player is over by the military side. And as I'm climbing over the rocks, turns out I was right. With some somewhat poor recoil control, I crack his armor and I take this opportunity to push him. I chuck a stun grenade out over on the left-hand side and I don't get a hit. So at that point, he's got to be on the right. And as I aim on the rock, turns out I was right. I put him down, I finish him, and like that, we have another victory. That is 6 guns out of way too many to go. But that just means a lot more games to win. Thanks for watching, guys. Definitely upping my editing game each video, and I look forward to the next one. Also, if you haven't, you should follow me on Twitter for some more clips and behind the scenes content. I also stream on Twitch as well every Monday and Friday at 8 PM plus 13 GMT, which unfortunately converts to 3 AM Central for you in America. Sorry, it's the only time I can really do it. Anyway, I hope to catch you in the next video, and until then, take care, and I will see you next time.